I say to this day, and I do it based on my reaction. Obviously, this is personal. I say it's the greatest knockout of all time. First time I ever stood up, I couldn't sit down. I was standing up. I was just like, oh!
I saw that. I saw you stand up. That's the first time I see it.
It was just, what?
Unexpected him the last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that. He at least won 3.
I'm a little up.
When Anthony Joshua delivered the devastating 6th-round knockout that halted Jake Paul's challenge in their eagerly awaited heavyweight clash, Joe Rogan's real-time reaction perfectly encapsulated the event's profound ripple effect across combat sports. Rogan, who had repeatedly cautioned about Joshua's devastating one-punch capability and the serious risk Paul was facing, unleashed an unfiltered response as the fight-ending strike connected. He instantly positioned it not merely as a routine knockout, but as a potentially historic moment, one of the most vicious and unforgettable knockouts in the annals of boxing.
Would it either come full steam ahead 100 miles an hour, or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour? There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided.
The bout, officially billed as Judgment Day, was contested over a scheduled 8 3-minute rounds in the heavyweight division, with Anthony Joshua entering as the clear favorite thanks to his superior professional experience and significant size advantage. Standing at 6 feet 6 inches and weighing approximately 243 pounds, Joshua held a clear edge over Paul, who came in at 216 pounds. After several cautious early rounds, Joshua began to assert dominance, dropping Paul multiple times in the 5th before sealing the fight with a devastating 6th-round knockout at 131. A crushing right hand sent Paul crashing to the canvas, prompting the referee to immediately wave off the contest.
Champ Anthony Joshua. Paul was sturdy for the first couple of rounds, but as the fight went on, the more experienced Joshua began to take control. After continuously connecting in the 5th round, it was only a matter of time before it was over. In the 6th, Joshua went on to knock out Paul with a big right hand. Joshua improved his career record to 29-4 now. Paul.
The showdown between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul ranked among the most discussed fights of the year, fueled not only by the larger-than-life personalities of both men, but also by the sharp contrast it highlighted between the storied tradition of heavyweight boxing and the explosive rise of the social media influencer era.
Great performance by Jake, brother.
Come on, bro. He's a fucking legend for that. He has such big balls getting in the ring with that guy, dude. Joshua's a monster. He stayed in it the whole time, and I'm really proud of Jake, dude. All my respect to him, bro. Whatever outcome. I mean, dude, he went 6.5 rounds with Anthony Joshua, one of the best in the world. So I got nothing but respect.
And got up like 2 times?
No, it was sick.
Talk about that. I mean, there's been other heavyweights that have felt that right hand who haven't got up.
Nagano, so many people, bro. They're over him, right? Jake's got a tough chin, dude. I think he does whatever he wants after this. He just has such big balls, dude. He had to keep moving. That was the only strategy. People are going to say he ran around the ring. They don't know. They don't understand fucking boxing.
He showed a ton of heart, right?
Ton of heart.
Anthony Joshua, the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion, stepped into the ring as an overwhelming favorite. Paul, the YouTuber-turned-professional boxer, had leveraged his massive online platform to attract huge audiences to the sport, even amid ongoing criticism from traditionalists over his limited elite credentials. Still, virtually no one gave him a genuine shot at overcoming the devastating punching power of a top-tier heavyweight.
Some people believe in fairy tales. Whoever believed that Jake Paul was going to win, that was an absolute fairy tale. I've got a friend in a group message that said, I just put $20 on Jake Paul to win. I was like, bro, you just wasted your money. There was never a world in which Jake Paul was going to beat Anthony Joshua. It was always a matter of how the fight would end. So I watched all the pundits talking about the fight. Even Rosendo, my boxing coach, I was like, does Anthony Joshua represent boxing? Everybody from that world felt like Anthony Joshua was representing boxing. And as the fight started to go on, first off, he was representing boxing, so they wanted him to get the job done. All right, first and foremost. You can't lose to a guy that's perceived to be a YouTuber, even though today, Jake Paul is more boxer than YouTuber. I've said this time and time again. When you have resources, when you can spend $1 million a year on training camps, housing, food, coaches, This is not recreational anymore. He's a boxer. He's just not a boxer at that level. I ran into his brother in New York City, and I said to Logan, what parameters are in place, Logan? What safeguards do they have to make sure that Anthony Joshua doesn't hurt your brother? He said there are none. He goes, they're going to just straight fight. So in that regard, you got to give credit.
In the aftermath of the fight, Anthony Joshua offered a candid and introspective assessment of his performance. While he secured the victory with a 6th-round knockout, he openly admitted it fell short of his peak form and that he felt capable of delivering far more. Joshua acknowledged areas for growth, noting his early difficulties in connecting with clean punches and his inability to trap Jake Paul in the corner as swiftly as anticipated. He described the outcome as a win, yet not a complete triumph, stressing that significant room for refinement remains in his game.
Better is a lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you is that, Jake, what's going to happen? I'm going to see a time when I'm going to take your soul and you're either going to give up.
Despite the emphatic knockout victory, Anthony Joshua took time to praise Jake Paul's courage and durability inside the ring. He emphasized that, while he ultimately closed the show with a 6th-round stoppage, Paul demonstrated genuine fighting spirit by repeatedly rising after being floored and continuing to battle against a vastly more seasoned former world champion. Joshua pointed out that few fighters would have the boldness to step up against an opponent of his level, and he expressed genuine respect for Paul's unrelenting determination to keep pushing forward, even under intense pressure.
AJ's won 6 rounds, he kind of dismantled him, he took his time. How do you see it?
Yeah, it was a frustrating 2-3 rounds maybe, because Jake was moving so much, holding, but did well, I thought. I mean, I was impressed with him. I mean, I was more impressed with his toughness, because I think that last shot would have knocked out most heavyweights. I mean, I know
he broke his jaw.
Yeah, I know, it knocked him out,
Knocked
but he
his
was
teeth
not
out.
unconscious. You know, I mean, look, he may not come back from it. If he has broken his jaw, it's a big injury to come back from.
Well, there's pictures of him in hospital right now.
Well, listen, you've got to respect him, because he did what many people wouldn't do, which was get in the ring with him. And, you know, he didn't. I know he run and hold, but he also let his hands go at times. And he was in the firing line. And, you know, we got 6 good rounds in the end of actual
Is that how
work.
you see it in the end?
Yeah, I actually think it's a positive, because, you know, we could have gone in there and got it all over with 45 seconds. He's done an 8-week camp.
Paul sustained a double fracture to his jaw during the 6th-round knockout defeat to Anthony Joshua, inflicted by the powerful right hand that brought the fight to a close. Visibly bloodied around the mouth, Paul revealed in his post-fight interview that he suspected a broken jaw, and medical confirmation later verified it was broken in 2 places, requiring surgery with titanium plates inserted.
Logan, what's up, man? What's your reaction to it?
I'm just so proud of him. My mom has it.
Your brother fought his ass off, man.
Yeah,
I mean, other heavyweights have taken that right hand and only took 1.
I'm just so proud of him. That was incredible. In my view, that was a victory on all fronts.
Right.
Like, minus the actual victory, obviously, of course, but bro, like, no one expected him to last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet, who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet. My brother, as a fucking YouTuber, went 6 rounds with him in a fight with a broken jaw and rolled ankle. I'm so proud of him. That was just unbelievable.
I saw you talking crap to AJ at one
Bro, I
point.
was trying to get his head. I think I pissed him off. I was just saying fuck that shit. I love AJ. But bro,
I saw you going down the fight game.
I was talking so much. But I just pissed him off. Then he broke my brother's jaw.
True to his signature bravado, Jake Paul responded defiantly after the loss, posting a screenshot of his x-ray revealing a double fracture in his jaw. Alongside the image, he captioned, "Double broken jaw. Give me Canelo in 10 days." Medical scans confirmed the jaw was broken in 2 places, often termed a double fracture, and Paul even drove himself to the hospital immediately after the fight for evaluation and treatment. Recovery was projected at 4 to 6 weeks, during which he underwent surgery involving titanium plates and some teeth removal. Throughout the process, Paul shared updates and images on social media, verifying the extent of the injury while expressing gratitude to fans for their overwhelming support.
Nikita, just down here, Jeffrey from The Sun. Just to follow up on Jake, he said he broke his jaw in the aftermath. Has he gone to hospital? What's the health update on Jake?
Yeah, we think he broke his jaw. He's fine. We met with Netflix afterwards. He took a shower. He drove himself to the hospital. A broken jaw is very common in sports, particularly in boxing or MMA. And I think the recovery time from the doctors and surgeons we've already talked to is...
Nakis Bidarian commended Jake Paul's heart, toughness, and strategic approach, highlighting how impressively he performed against one of the most feared punchers in the heavyweight division, and even suggesting that Paul might have edged a few of the early rounds. However, Bidarian stressed that the defeat stemmed not from any deficiency in boxing skill, but from the stark size and weight disparity between the fighters. Joshua's substantially heavier build and superior strength steadily drained Paul's energy, enabling the former champion to deliver increasingly powerful shots that culminated in the knockout. Bidarian underscored that Joshua's physical advantages were pivotal in breaking Paul down over the rounds, while insisting that Paul's resilient display warranted genuine respect despite the loss.
That's what happened. And ultimately, Jake Paul lasted a lot longer than anyone said he was going to. And I haven't seen the official scorecards. I don't know if anyone else has. But I think he might have won a round or 2 or even 3. He was doing tremendously well in there against a person who is vastly more skilled, vastly larger, vastly more powerful. And he did it on 4 weeks preparation.
What would you like to see next for Jake?
I'd like him to take a beat, relax, and then think about when he's going to fight next. You know, we talked about June, July timeframe. He loves this sport. He loves MVP. He loves the athletes. He loves giving them platform and push. This young lady right here, the whole time when I was talking to her, I said, "What do you think?" She goes, "Jake's going to win. I believe in him. He can do whatever he wants to do." That's the kind of family that we're building at MVP. It's a fighter-first organization. You guys saw our weigh-in yesterday. That stuff costs a lot of money.
Several fighters in the boxing community praised Jake Paul's tenacity for daring to share the ring with a former heavyweight champion, particularly lasting into the 6th round despite the vast disparities in size and professional experience. They commended his display of heart and grit, even in the face of an eventual knockout defeat. Eddie Hearn, however, offered a more tempered acknowledgement of Paul's efforts. While recognizing that Paul exhibited some resilience, Hearn maintained that the result was predictable from the outset. He stressed that few genuinely anticipated Paul enduring long against a puncher of Anthony Joshua's elite caliber, viewing survival into the 6th round as a testament more to Paul's toughness than to any superior technical prowess. Hearn suggested the bout underscored the considerable divide between influencer crossover athletes and seasoned professional heavyweights, noting that while extending the fight across several rounds was commendable, it ultimately did little to bridge the gap. Joshua's superior experience and devastating power proved decisively dominant.
I mean, first 2 or 3 rounds, a little bit frustrating because you've been out of the ring for a year and a half and you've got a guy that's just running around the ring and, you know, you can say you've got to cut him off, but when they're moving at that kind of speed and they're holding up close, but his clinching was quite good, Jake. Like, yeah, listen, you know, I'm not saying he's going to go and win a world title, but he just fought Anthony Joshua and went 5 and a bit rounds. So, you know, respect to him, and it was good to get some rounds in, to be honest with you. He's got a new team. If it would have gone 45 seconds, maybe people would have been more impressed, but we wouldn't really have got any ring time. So we've got that, and now it's a case of when we're at next.
You described Jake as average a few years ago. What's your assessment of him now?
Decent. If you listen to what I said in the build-up, I said he used to be average, now I think he's decent. And the same. I think he's like a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. Top 50, top 60 cruiserweight in the world. So, yeah, and look, you know, like I said, I hope he's okay. 4-0. 4-0 to Matchroom over MVP. We're friends now. So respect to him.
And your message for Fury?
Fury, listen, we'll see you.
Following the fight, Ryan Garcia chimed in on social media with a candid and provocative take that quickly drew widespread attention in the boxing community. While expressing respect for Paul's resilience, Garcia delivered a pointed comparison to Gervonta "Tank" Davis, a fellow elite lightweight contender and Garcia's former opponent. In his post, Garcia stated that he believed Davis would have inflicted even greater damage on Paul, potentially hitting harder or finishing the bout more emphatically than Joshua managed. Many in the boxing world echoed Garcia's sentiment, reinforcing the view that this matchup fell short of true elite-level competition. Criticism of the event persists, with detractors arguing that a clash between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul never should have been sanctioned to begin with.
Fair play to Jake Paul. He has a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, you know, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. Again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight, this is not elite boxing. And we knew that coming in, but if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year, like this one, how much longer is the appetite for the fan going to be there when this is such a bad look overall for the sweet science, the sport of boxing, which, you know, cannot get out of its way anyway?
Critics have highlighted the vast disparities in size, experience, and skill between a former heavyweight world champion and a social media influencer turned boxer, arguing that the gulf was far too wide for the bout to qualify as a genuine competitive sporting event, rendering it more of a high-profile spectacle. Many contend that matching Paul against an opponent boasting Olympic credentials and authentic heavyweight punching power carried unacceptable safety concerns, a point underscored by Paul's broken jaw and the multiple times he was sent to the canvas.
Joshua being taken 6 rounds by Jake Paul. We're in the aftermath here. The press conference is going on behind us. We're yet to see Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua out here. Ak, you were ringside, you were around the whole fight. People are complaining that Anthony Joshua may have embarrassed himself in there tonight, letting Jake take him 6 rounds.
It's ridiculous. Anybody that saying that doesn't know anything about boxing. First off, if you see how Jake was moving and clinching the first 3-4 rounds of that fight, you would understand. It doesn't matter how bad you are. If a fighter in front of you is destined to not get hit and not get knocked out, it's almost impossible to knock that guy out. When Jake was okay with exchanging and trying, even he was exhausted, he said, I'm going to try. That's when AJ was there to land the shots. AJ did what he was supposed to do. Not easy to knock a guy out that's surviving. You know that.
Yeah, I do. I wondered early on whether he didn't have a lot of adrenaline and he was walking Jake down. Jake was making himself small and moving away. And AJ said, you know what, I'm going to take my time here and marinate you.
Exactly. Listen, when a guy that's moving like Jake, that's inexperienced, you're going to gas out. I knew it for after half the first round. If Jake keeps moving like that, he's going to gas out in 2-3 rounds. And I noticed that AJ said, okay, I'm going to let him run around, right? People are screaming, cut the ring off. Let me let him run around and gas out. Once he gassed out...
Experts argue that these high-profile crossover bouts erode the foundational integrity of professional boxing, prioritizing spectacle, entertainment value, and massive pay-per-view earnings over authentic, merit-based competition. Many contend that the Joshua-Paul matchup was driven primarily by promotional hype and financial incentives rather than genuine athletic challenge or sporting legitimacy.
You and I are boxing guys. We go to boxing all the time. The question we perhaps need to ask is, did that entertain the fans tonight? Should we be seeing that again? Is that it now? We've seen that novelty. Should a fight like that between an Olympic champion, a heavyweight world champion, against a relative novice, should that be sanctioned and licensed by a commission? It was a one-off. Jake's a one-off, but we shouldn't be seeing a lot of these events, in my view.
Never again. We should never have that gap of experience.
The mismatch.
Skill set should never happen again. I mean, to your point, Jake is an anomaly, right? Like, we can let him get that off. He tried it, and he even landed a couple of shots, but you saw at first, I mean, as soon as he landed first right hand, even he saw, I can't hurt this guy. I'm not going to.
It was a pebble hitting a tank, is how I've described it.
Great description. So I think it's, in some sense, we needed to have this in order for it
to get
not
it
to
out
happen
of our
again.
system.
Right.
Yeah,
in order for it not to happen again. And look, let's not ignore that there were other fighters on the card who were watched, who were seen from places all around the world. So it served its purpose, and kudos to Netflix for allowing it to happen.
Yeah, Baumgardner was very good. Alicia Baumgardner defending her belts. Caroline Dubois was very good. She signaled herself to the American market, as you mentioned. So at least they benefit from it as well tonight, which will continue to happen with MVP and Netflix.
And that's what Jake and Nikisa, that's their agenda, right? Of course, it's Jake, but Jake has all of that in mind. Who can I showcase on this event? He did it for Amanda Serrano. She's made millions. He's starting to look, Dubois, she looked great. I want to see.
It was mostly a spectacle, one that probably shouldn't have happened in a sanctioned professional ring, at least not against a genuine elite heavyweight like Anthony Joshua. Don't get me wrong. The fight was real, no scripting or fixing, as evidenced by Paul's very real double-fractured jaw requiring surgery, titanium plates, and a liquid diet for weeks. Joshua landed clean, devastating shots, dropped Paul 4 times, and finished him convincingly in the 6th. Paul showed surprising heart by lasting that long and getting up repeatedly, which earned him some respect from Joshua and parts of the boxing community. But as a legitimate test of skill, not even close. The massive gaps in experience, Joshua, Olympic gold, 2-time unified champ, decades at the top level, Paul, 5 years pro, mostly against aging MMA guys, influencers or past prime boxers, size. Joshua, 30 lbs heavier with real heavyweight power, and pure boxing pedigree made this a foregone conclusion from the start. It felt more like a high-stakes exhibition designed for Netflix views, massive paydays, and viral hype than a competitive sporting contest. Paul ran, clinched, and survived longer than many expected, but it highlighted the chasm between crossover entertainers and true pros, ultimately doing more to expose the divide than bridge it. Boxing needs money and attention, and events like this bring both in spades. But when they come at the cost of integrity, safety risks, broken jaw, and diluting what elite means, it's fair to say this one crossed into pure spectacle territory. Paul will bounce back with his bravado intact. Joshua gets a win, though he admitted it wasn't his best. And the sport, well, it keeps debating its future. What about you? Did Paul's durability change your view at all? Or was it exactly the mismatch you predicted? Drop your take.